ano-ano nga ba ang mga immigration policy or posibleng maging immigration policies ng Carney administration? Prioritization of temporary residence for PR. So very good. His policy would limit again the temporary foreign workers. Over-reliance on international student tuition fees.
Hi fam! So I'm going to walk papunta sa school ni na David ang pasundo. Isang sasakyan lang, so si mami na lang ang magdadala kasi galing naman siya ng office. So kakaiba talaga ang weather dito sa Calgary, lalo na sa Alberta. Last week lang medyo sunny na, and then ngayon balik ng snowy Calgary again. Kakaiba talaga. Parang political landscape ng Pilipinas. O, diba? Nasingit ko yun. Anyway, I don't want to turn this video into a political discussion. And everyone knows naman na taga Davao ko. So I have my opinions. Well, I have my experience. And of course, others has their opinions too. So, just want to highlight, syempre, since OFW tayo, more or less, ang concern talaga natin is ang family natin sa Pilipinas. So, kailangan safe sila, may economic stability, yung mga education ng mga pamangkin natin, the environment, and of course, if we have investments in the Philippines, yun yung mga maiisip natin pag may mga ganitong political instability na matatawag. Kasi syempre nagsa-struggle sila when it comes to the government. So mahirap talaga. It's the same way as here in Canada. Kasi like for example yung kay Trudeau and the upcoming elections, ngayon nag-step down na siya and napalitan ni Carney ba yan? Yeah. So, appointed Prime Minister now of Canada. So, it's a different landscape, a different degree of instability. Pero, yeah, both countries experiences the same thing. Political changes, yung mga partido, although dito yung parties ay more or less tatlo, sa atin ay madami, but then the insights, yung mga challenges na na-experience ng mga Canadians and Filipinos are more or less the same. So going back, yeah, kung may investments sa Pilipinas and if most of our families are still there, of course we always want and we always pray na the Philippines would grow richer, stronger, politically, wealth-wise, education-wise. Kasi kailangan ng mga bata ng matatag na government and matatag na support so that the education system can prosper more. And I really do believe na maybe in 50 years or maybe within my lifetime, kaya nating umangat maybe close or at the same level as with the Western countries. I don't want to call them first world countries because the term was actually flawed. It was just used to compare countries differently. So Western countries na lang gagamitin ko. Yeah, so I'm excited to see that happens in the future. But for now, kailangan nating maging mas matatag pa. Nasa Pilipinas man, nasa abroad man, hirap talagang away from the family. Mother, father, and sister ko ay nasa Pilipinas. They reside right now in Davao City. So yeah, syempre yung Davao naman is stable. But then, yeah, the whole landscape of the Philippine politics is really on a higher level, I could say. So okay, sunduin lang natin si Davon. Nandito na rin ang ibang mga magulang. And probably I can research about Carney kasi siya yung designated Prime Minister ngayon, and yun yung pwedeng may effects sa atin directly. Ayan na ang anak ko at ayan na si Mommy.
Come on!
Kakasama na kami. Hatid na namin si Davon. Oh, hi!
Nag-vlog ba kayo?
Opo. May event kasi sina Davon. So, nag-volunteer si Mommy na parang mag-usher or parang mag-help sa mga kids. So, yun, napili siya. Gustong gusto niya itong gawin eh. Naka-reserve to siya agad nung nag-open yung for volunteer slot. So, yan, napili ka, Mommy. Yan, nakikita niyo ba yan, fam? Yan, oh. Sobrang foggy. Ano kaya yan? Sinong kalaro mo today, Kuya? Sinong kalaro mo today? Rohan again?
Because he's always my friend.
Yes, you always play with Rohan. Gusto mo si Rohan? Bakit mabait siya?
Mabait.
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 Oo.
Siya.
Mabait siya.
Ako.
Hey fam! Kakabalik lang namin dito sa bahay. And yeah, let's go to the main topic. Sino nga ba si Mark Carney? Our new designated Prime Minister or Prime Minister. I'm not that sure, but he's gonna be the Prime Minister of Canada bukas. So apologies pala, medyo masilaw dito sa aking kaliwa. But let's go. So he has actually an interesting background. And a very nice one, very, very educated. So he's actually born in the Northwest Territories. So may friends kami doon in Kapamilya. Shout out to you, Kuya Erish and Pius. We'll see you soon pag medyo mainit na dito sa Calgary. But anyway, his parents are actually teachers and he was raised in Edmonton, Alberta. And after that, guess what is his college or school that he went into for bachelor's degree? Wala lang namang iba kung hindi ang Harvard University, where he graduated and obtained a master's or degree in economics and also master's degree in University of Oxford. So upon reading this one, he's actually a finance guy. Finance ang background niya. One of the biggest finance company in the world, which is Goldman Sachs. He worked there for over a decade, and then nag-work din siya sa Bank of Canada after that, where he was the bank governor from 2008 to 2013. So this was the time when there was a financial crisis. I think everyone knows this one, like a housing crisis that happened in the US, and it propagated all over the world. So yun yung isang naging career niya. So he was the bank governor. He was able to help steer the Canadian economy back to recovery. And after that, he was actually the first non-British to be the governor of the Bank of England. So magaling tong taong to. On the finance, on the banking side, is super brilliant based on his resume here. And then he was, of course, later on, invited to the government as well as one of the special advisors to just introduce government. And he also had a very big impact on the pandemic recovery plan. So this is good news for everyone because he has been in the finance banking sector. He's been part of the government sector. So he's very well versed on the politics, the processes, at kung ano-ano pa mang mga bagay na pwedeng maging factor para siya ay maging successful sa pagiging Prime Minister ay nandito na lahat sa kanya. Now, as migrants and of course, ang buhay Canada natin ay more or less talaga interested tayo lagi sa topic na immigration and policies around immigration. Ano-ano nga ba ang mga immigration policy or posibleng maging immigration policies ng Carney administration? We're in a new era, although hindi naman talaga kasi he's still part of the Liberal Party. But this is what he said based on his public comments so far. So, a proposed cap on immigration. Ano ang ibig sabihin? Isa-isahin natin mamaya. Another key point is the prioritization of temporary residence for PR. So, very good topic to, or policy. Admissions numbers of temporary foreign workers. So, I think his policy would limit again the temporary foreign workers. Over-reliance on international student tuition fees among Canadian post-secondary institutions. So, alam naman natin and we're very aware that international students pay like 50% or even 70%. We pay 50% or even 75% more compared to local students. So, napagkwentuhan nga namin ni Donna and napagbiruan namin na I think ang international students na nga ang bumubuhay sa education system ng Canada dahil sa sobrang laki ng tuition. But anyway, another point here is the Canada's housing crisis. They're very, very tightly knit in a sense. Another point and last point is the role of immigration policy in Canada's national identity. So of course, since madaming immigrants, let's say may argument doon na pag sobrang dami ng immigrants, mawawala na ang Canada's identity. But there could be another argument whereby it fosters and develops more of Canada's identity dahil sa sobrang diverse ng culture na pwedeng mangyari. The combination of all the cultures makes Canada's identity better. So there are two takes on this. So let's go to his first point. It's the cap on immigration. So of course there is really a big problem here in Canada with regards to the housing crisis, and they closely relates it to the number of immigrants that went here and are here right now. So there was something of a trend where he said that we had much higher levels of foreign workers, students, and new Canadians than Canada could offer better housing, healthcare for, social services for, and opportunities. Sa madaling sabi, sobrang dami na ng tao dito compared dun sa kung ano ang pwedeng ibigay ng Canada para sa kanila. So it takes two, demand and the supply. The demand actually is from the temporary workers, from the immigrants, for the international students. And the supply is for Canada to be able to meet that demand. Apparently, sa ngayon, ay wala and at par dun sa pag-provide ng benefits, pag-provide ng housing, pag-provide ng healthcare, pag-provide ng proper infrastructure, pag-provide ng social services, and pag-provide ng opportunities. So parang in a sense, it needs to balance. Kaya nila ginagawa tong cap on immigration. And having that said, yung mga ngayong PR targets na nga ay way below compared dun sa previous years na mga permanent resident targets or even targets for temporary foreign workers, targets for international students, even mas nagiging strict sila on the policies around those PGWPs, the work spousals, work permit, and all. So, ginagawan talaga nila ng paraan ngayon para makap ang immigrants or immigration coming into Canada. And the next point is the prioritization of temporary residents for PR. So this policy really makes sense, or kung ano man ang thinking niya dito ay tumutugma talaga dun sa immigration policies recently na nilalabas ng IRCC, which is ang tagline nila is In Canada Focus, where they would prioritize temporary residents, temporary worker ka man. Maybe you could be an international student with a pathway to a permanent resident program. Ipa-prioritize ka ng Canada. So, in a sense, good news siya and bad news to others. Kasi good news siya for the ones that are already here. Bad news siya, or relatively bad news siya, for the ones that are still outside of Canada na papunta pa lang dito and all. And they have a target of around 82,920 or 900 that could be permanent residents here in Canada. So it's good news and bad news. But we are seeing that IRCC is moving on that direction. And we could see more kung papaano nila i-establish and i-execute ang policy na ito moving forward. Since si Carney na ang Prime Minister. Third point of his policies that could happen when he become Prime Minister is the influx or the limitation of temporary foreign workers. And quote unquote, as he said, I don't want to oversimplify, but there were failures of execution. We let too many people in as temporary foreign workers. And of course, I think that was partly due to the pandemic back in 2020, where they would need more workers on healthcare, on food, on agriculture, and all other sectors. So parang naghalo-halo na siya. So admittedly, nagsabi naman siya na hindi siya na-control or hindi siya na-execute based dun sa kung ano yung gusto nila at the end of the day. So ano ang gagawin nila? So there's going to be a cap again, as I've said, to temporary foreign worker program. Remain flat lang daw siya at 82,000 per year for 2025, 2026, and 2027. And magde-decline ang overall population or bilang ng mga temporary residents dito sa Canada by about 445,000. So kung ano man yung number ngayon ng temporary foreign worker na nandito sa Canada, bababa to about 445,000 na lang. So ano ang magiging cost ng pagbaba? 2. May ibang temporary foreign workers will be admitted as permanent residents. Check yan. Very good news. May ibang temporary foreign workers or residents na mag-expire yung status nila. So, mapapauwi or uuwi sila or kailangan nilang umuwi. And ito yung ito yung sad thing na mangyayari naman. So, there are two. One is positive, one is negative. Ganun talaga. Yun yung policy. Or magiging policy. The fourth point is over-reliance on international student tuition fees. Sabi nga namin ni Donna, international students na ata ang nagpapagawa ng lahat ng buildings ng mga universities dito sa Canada. Tayo na ata ang bumubuhay ng mga schools dito sa Canada, which is, I think, partly true. And based on this, I think inaamin nila na yes, Canada was over-reliant on student tuition fees. Kasi it's either 200% or times 2 ang binabayaran na tuition fees ng international student, or maybe even 75% more compared to the local students here. And hindi to sustainable at hindi to maganda overall dun sa education system ng Canada. Kasi paano pag nawala bigla or nagkaroon ng stop ang international student program? Eh di wala ng funds na pwedeng gamitin ang mga schools. So it's not sustainable, it's not good at all. There should always be a balance on this program. The fifth point is the housing crisis. And I think ito ang nagpapanalo or nagpapatalo ng isang kandidato as of now dito sa Canada. So kung sino ang makakapag-address ata ng housing crisis ay siya yung magiging panalo sa kahit na anong election right now. So one of the agenda, of course, is to improve the housing affordability and resolve the housing crisis. So paano? There could be a couple of policy changes here. Primarily, give incentives to the construction companies, fasten or hasten construction approvals, to limit foreign buying coming from non-residents of Canada. Kasi from what I know and I remember, there was a time na pwedeng bumili ang mga foreigners na hindi naman taga Canada. And I think that was one of the causes where yung demand ay nag-over dun sa supply kasi inubos na ng mga non-residents ng Canada. And we were first-hand witnesses on all of those kasi galing kami ng Vancouver, galing kami ng Richmond. A lot of the buyers there are really non-residents. Or I think at that time they were non-residents. And the last point is, of course, the immigration policy and Canada's national identity. There was a question here that was really good. When they were asked, or when Mark Carney was asked about whether Canada can afford a pro-immigration policy, Carney said, and quote, "The short answer is yes, we can. And arguably, we can't afford not to." Canada talaga ay isang bansang pro-immigration. Hindi pwedeng hindi. Kasi konti talaga ang tao dito. Dahil sa harsh weather, dahil sa harsh winter, dahil malayo, and so on and so forth. Madaming pwedeng dahilan. And kung ang pag-uusapan ay Canada's identity, I couldn't think of even one culture that dominates Canada now. Halo-halo na talaga ang culture. Caucasian, South Asian, East Asian, Middle Eastern, Europeans, lahat ay nandito. Even in my office, lahat, it's like United Nations in a smaller scale. So lahat talaga ng lahi ay nasa Canada. And for me, that gives Canada its identity. And I agree with his statement that we couldn't even afford not to be open to immigration or immigrants. I think what they're trying to say here, just to conclude, is perhaps they're limiting the immigrants, or the policies are stricter currently for Canada. It's because hindi balance kung ano ang meron ang Canada, kung ano ang pwedeng ibigay ng Canada, at kung ano yung mga numbers na padating na tao. At the end of the day, pag hindi nabigay ng Canada kung ano yung pangangailangan nitong mga immigrants na to, unfair naman dun sa immigrants or sa mga immigrants na to. So, there should be a balance of, in a sense, the supply from Canada and the demand for the immigrants. I would conclude this video here. I hope nakilala nyo ng lalo si Mark Carney. And let's see what the election would be. Either it's going to be Mark Carney, I think he will be running for the Prime Minister, and the opposition, which is, I think, Pierre Poilievre. And let's see what happens, and may the best man win. So this is Lawrence from Alba Fam Bam. Have a great day. God bless everyone, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And lose.